Community Groups Continue the Fight for Better Outcomes by James Poyner. A coordinated effort by the Warrandyte community groups and organisations aims to ensure the outcomes of a Manningham Council review meet community needs. The eventual release of the Warrandyte Community Facilities Review in late December triggered a strong response from facility users across the Warrandyte area. While a few positives were identified, many felt the review did not reflect the current needs of the community, with many feeling the review could threaten the existence of many of these groups. A coordinated response by representatives from community groups and organisations across Warrandyte aimed to make sure the wishes of the community groups and organisations that depend on these facilities were heard. Running in parallel and in sympathy with this was the potential demise of the Warrandyte Scout Hall and the subsequent demise of the Warrandyte Scout Group if the hall is lost. Previous funding to upgrade the Scout Hall had been removed from the latest municipal budget, and the Warrandyte Community Facilities Review suggested it was no longer possible to modernise the space and to make it compliant due to the existing overlays on where it is located. The Warrandyte Scouts submitted a Save the Warrandyte Scout Hall petition at the February 2026 Manningham Council meeting with 1,611 signatures. Yarra Ward Councillor Carly Lang spoke about the petition at the council meeting, highlighting the history and social significance of the space, and clarified no decisions have been made as yet. Councillor Lang also asked council officers for some clarification regarding the review community consultation, which closed mid-February following 2 periods of extension beyond its original period of 10 days when it opened in late December 2025. At the council meeting, council officers confirmed 38 submissions had been received, and that the officers were taking their time to work through the feedback provided. Meanwhile, the organised community groups and organisations responding to the review were effervescent with rage when submitters received a boilerplate response from Council following their numerous detailed and considered submissions. The diary has seen a number of reports from the Community Alliance regarding responses from Council and advocacy progress to date. A representative of the groups provided an update printed below. Casual inclusion. While the review consulted permanent hirers of the facilities, and while Council stressed any reshuffling would contribute to more effective usage by casual hirers, the review seems to have failed to contact or consult with existing casual hirers. No Lights, No Lycra Warrandyte are regular users of the Warrandyte Community Hall, using the hall when the weather means it is not appropriate to hold the Wednesday night session outside on the Warrandyte Primary School Oval. While the group considers the hall part of No Lights, No Lycra Warrandyte's home, as ad hoc or casual users, they were not consulted and feel their needs have not been addressed. Update on actions taken by Warrandyte Volunteers Alliance, WAV, March 2026. By Grant Purdy, Warrandyte Volunteers Alliance. All community organisations affected by the Warrandyte Communities Facilities Review submitted detailed written submissions to Manningham Council before the deadline for comments. Overall, 36 detailed submissions were made, and all of these were critical of the draft report and the way the review had been conducted. Most submissions were in the form of letters addressed to Andrew Day, CEO of Manningham City Council. While all the submissions were different and reflected the needs and situations of each organisation, there were common points of criticism that the review was superficial, and the consultants involved had not taken enough time or put in enough effort to appreciate the needs and constraints of the affected organisations. Often, the information in the report was out of date. The review failed to recognise and give any credit to the many proposals organisations had already submitted to Council, proposals that suggested practical means to ensure their facilities were improved so as to become fit for purpose. Although the council had claimed no decisions had been made, this was not the case. Untested criteria had been used to review and test what were called opportunities, and only those opportunities that fitted Manningham's preferred solutions were being proposed. There was no coherent risk assessment reported, even though this was required by the council's policy. Some obvious improvements and strategies were turned down in the report using risks plucked from the air without justification. A summary response was also sent to Andrew Day by the Rotary Club of Warrandyte Donvale on behalf of all organisations. This, in addition to summarising the concerns of all, strongly suggested that Manningham now move on and adopt a much more robust, systematic and well-recognised process that would form a sound basis for decisions on these facilities. The details of that well-recognised process were carefully described, and the letter stated that the organisations would welcome the opportunity to discuss the letter and then work with representatives of the council to develop an acceptable basis for decisions. After the closing date, Manningham responded with an anonymous boilerplate text email to most, although not all, organisations that had commented, thanking them for their thoughts and saying that the feedback, thoughts and ideas will be used to help inform and update the final report. This email and its contents caused considerable offence to those who had invested so much time in making detailed and carefully researched submissions. The contents of the anonymous email did not reflect any appreciation of the seriousness of the issues raised by organisations, nor the standard of engagement expected from public servants when responding to well-reasoned, evidence-based feedback. The Rotary Club of Warrandyte Donvale again wrote to both Mr Day and Yarra Ward Councillor Carly Lang on behalf of all organisations, expressing dismay at the offensive email. The letter pointed out that community organisations had urged the council to work with them in partnership to provide fit-for-purpose community facilities in Warrandyte. However, the tone and content of the email had further undermined confidence in the process and reinforced the perception that council does not want to meaningfully engage with the community. Mr Day has now reached out to Olive Orman, the president of the Rotary Club. In a telephone call, he acknowledged the concerns expressed by the organisations affected and agreed that the process had missed the mark, recognised that trust had been damaged and accepted that the review did not achieve its intended purpose, stressed that council officers understand the seriousness of the issues and were not looking for a quick or superficial fix, supported the need to rebuild trust through direct, face-to-face conversations with key community representatives. It was agreed that the best way forward was to start with collaborative discussions to work out the next steps together, rather than council presenting predetermined outcomes. Mr Day also said he was willing to personally attend meetings with community groups to show commitment, help rebuild confidence, and deepen his understanding of Warrandyte and its needs. The telephone conversation ended with an agreement that senior council officers would set up a meeting with a small representative group to agree on a more soundly based, inclusive and trust-focused process to be followed going forward. No Lights, No Consultation by Kim Thompson. No Lights, No Lycra Warrandyte has been a weekly user of the Warrandyte Community Hall for the past 2 years, every Wednesday evening from May to October. This hour-long Dance in the Dark session has been running in Warrandyte for over 10 years, and the facilities provided at the hall are perfect for up to 25 attendees each week. Council stated that, prior to the release of the Warrandyte Community Facilities Review on December 8, they had consulted community groups and facility users over the previous 18 months. We did not receive any such consultation or chance to have a say until December 15, when we received, along with members of the public, an email with the link to the Your Say feedback form. We are very sympathetic, particularly to the Scouts and the Men's Shed group, and to their need for a permanent facility, and understand that the community hall is being considered as an option. Our hope is that we, as hall users, are now considered and consulted by Council going forward, with whatever changes and plans are proposed. Most concerning for us is the possibility of needing to be relocated, which will result in disruption and most likely a drop in attendance. We accept that there are some changes that may need to be made for some groups to survive, but we hope that others don't fold in this process. This story was read by Rebecca Rose.